Welcome back to another Celtics Nation Rise recap. Tonight, your Celtics lost of a score 102 to 100 to the 76ers. This game was close throughout. There was a lot of lead changes, a lot of back and forth, but the Sixers managed to close out this game in late in the fourth, and the Celtics failed to really get a good shot off late game, and so the Sixers came away with that win, and Celtics now fall to the Sixers 2-1 on the series during the season. So, as always, Tommy, let me hear your takeaways from this game.
I think this was probably the most frustrating loss that we've seen yet this year because I talked about a few things going into tonight's game. The first thing was kind of limiting Tyrese Maxey and not letting him get comfortable early. The
Mhm.
Celtics did that. They kind of switched up matchups onto Maxey. A few different guys guarded on Brown for a little bit. Derek White took him for a little bit, and Jordan Walsh had a lot of time on him in the second half, and they limited him to only 21 points on 5 of 17. That's 29% for Maxi. And then another thing I wanted to look at was the rebounding margin because that's been the Celtics' Achilles heel pretty much up until this point, and they actually won the rebound margin by 9. The Celtics had 53 rebounds to Philly's 44. And then I kind of want to see who would contribute to the bench. And I think one huge positive we can take out of this game is that Celtics fans should be buying into Jordan Walsh and Hugo Gonzalez stock because they were both excellent tonight. Gonzalez only played 6 minutes. Looked like he rolled his ankle in that. I think it was the third quarter. And
Yeah,
Jordan
definitely.
Walsh, I mean, he had an outstanding game once again on the defensive end, picking up Maxi in that second half and really doing a great job on him down the stretch of the game. And it feels like his hands are in every passing lane. He's blocking shots. He's doing all the dirty work. He's crashing the glass extremely hard from the weak side. It feels like every single time. So one positive that I'm taking out of this painful loss is the excitement that I have for Jordan Walsh and Hugo Gonzalez. So those are kind of my initial reactions. A tough loss. I feel like the Celtics did it should have done enough to pull out this win, but a slow start shooting and battling their way back in the third, and of course another offensive rebound, put back layup for an opponent to beat us in the end of the fourth quarter. So tough loss.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean that rebound's unacceptable in that game. You got to finish out the possession and really close it out. I will say something that stood out to me is the Sixers. There's two star players did not perform as they normally did. I mean, this, like you said, Celtics threw different guys at them, really made their lives difficult. But then you create that advantage for yourselves, and then you allow guys to come out the woodwork like Edwards, like Drummond's with 14 points, Oubre with 12. It's like you get Quentin Grimes with 18.
Yeah.
It's like you let these guys, your star players, you contain them, but then you fail to contain the guys that are per se easier to contain. And to me that shows, lack of effort. That shows a lack of defensive detail from guys that maybe weren't getting those star matchups. So that's frustrating to see because you execute your plan to what you wanted, but now you're letting other guys within the lineup kind of, excuse me, but really take off, and that's kind of what I see. And I will say I'm really happy with how Garz is playing. I think he needs to continue to get those minutes. I do think that at times his rim protection is a little iffy, where guys are able to attack him, but as long as he meets guys to the spot and gets a good contest, I think that we can be happy with that. And Simons, I was happy. He's really starting to find more of a rhythm, but it's tough when you don't contain those guys on the other end. And it's weird because you look at the box score, you look at all the stats, and the Celtics won a lot of those categories, but it's just not closing out late in the game. It's not getting a good shot towards that end of the game. That's really where they found struggle.
Yeah, I feel like one thing we are seeing a little bit more now than we were the first few games is I feel like the rotation is being a little bit more solidified. Um, the only guy that is really disappointing to me still is Sam Hauser. Again, only 3 points tonight, struggling shooting the ball once again. On the year now, he's shooting 33% from the field and
Mhm.
36% from three. And for me, if Hauser is a guy that isn't hitting shots for you and providing offense, then what is he really out there doing for you? He's not a
Yeah.
tremendous rebounder. Yes, he had 7 rebounds tonight. He's not a great defender. There was a few times tonight I feel like he was lost with his head kind of on a swivel and letting guys get behind his head. So Hauser's frustrating for me because that's his main priority of being on the court is being our best shooter, realistically on the team, and he
Mhm.
hasn't done that yet this season at all. So he's the one guy off the bench tonight that really was disappointing. Besides that, I thought we got good contributions from everybody across the board. Simon's, again showing his scoring ability. It wasn't that efficient tonight, but again, he's still giving that spark that the Celtics need from their second unit and the guy they can turn to in that second quarter when Brown is getting his rest. So that's good to see. But yeah, just what do you think about Sam Hauser? Because it's
Well,
frustrating at this point. I know there's really no one else they can go to. Maybe they could have given. I don't know why Minot didn't play much tonight. I mean, he hit a three early, and then he didn't
right.
really see the floor after picking up his second foul. It felt like for the rest of the game.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we do have guys like Minot. We have guys like Gonzalez who are actually hitting those open corner threes. They're not as explosive as of a shooter as Hauser, but they can get that job done, and that's definitely something that is to note. And it is like you said, it's just the truth. When Hauser's not hitting his shots, he's he can be a bit of a liability, and giving those minutes, some other guys probably could deserve those minutes. So yeah, no, I agree. And then one other thing that stands out to me too is, Brown had 24 points tonight. That's probably one of his lower scoring outings this season.
Yeah, he
And that's
started
something
slow.
that
He just started slow. I mean, he started 0
definitely,
for 5. He had
definitely.
what
Well,
14
I'm
points in
not.
the third.
Yeah, and
But
it's
for
not
his
a.
standards so far this season, it was an off
It's
game.
not an. But it's not even a knock against Brown. I'm just saying for the Celtics to win, like you need Brown in the upper echelon for points. Like you need like every night. And I'm not saying that's his fault. I'm just saying it's you want other guys to help fill in that stats because Brown's not gonna have a great game like a 30-point performance every single night. It's not feasible. It's not gonna happen. So you need guys off your bench to score, and that just shows me how I think it really shows me how important Brown is, how important his success is, and how important and how useful he has been when he is scoring those points. And I'm not saying that Brown, it's like 24 is good. I'm just saying it just shows you where the Celtics are at in regards to what they need on a nightly basis. So I'm gonna move on from the initial takes and move into the scoring throughout the game, the quarters. In the first, it was neck and neck. 23-22, Philadelphia won that quarter. Second, 28-19, Philadelphia won that. Third, Boston really took advantage of it and ran away 36-20 in that third. And then the fourth, Celtics won. I mean, the Philadelphia won 31-23 to get that 102 1 under lead. And, that's kind of the box score right there. And something to note, which is crazy, they had the lead changes were 16 tonight, which is a crazy stat and just shows how competitive the game was tonight. But it also shows you right now where the Celtics at just in the standings. Like they are middle of the road right now. Sixers are, it's always a competitive game with the Sixers. But I mean it also shows that they can beat teams like Sixers. But from player standpoint and kind of stats, why don't you take it away and kind of highlight some of those?
Yeah, so for the Sixers, Maxey had a quiet night for his standards so far. We already said that he had 21, 9 assists. He did make some good. I mean, he's a great player. He's having a great year. He's going to be an all-star. The Celtics, I feel like, did their job on Maxey. You let a guy like Justin Edwards go for 22 points, 8 for 9 from the field, 5 for 6 from three. A
Mhm.
career night from him. He was averaging 4 points going into tonight. So him going off for 22 is it was his night, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean,
his
if you're
night,
going to tell me
and
that
it
we're going to let Justin Edwards beat us,
yeah, and, like,
um,
teams aren't going into the game necessarily game planning for Justin Edwards first half. I mean,
yeah, and
he wasn't
beside,
hitting
yeah,
his percentage wasn't high coming into this game from beyond the arc. So it's one of those things that it's tough, but when you got it just happens, you know,
yeah, he
you let
comes
your
in the
guard
fourth,
down and
hits, yeah, he hits three big
yeah,
threes in the fourth
and it
to
was
give him
late
the
in the game
lead,
too,
and
right?
after that the Celtics couldn't fight back. Edgecombe only had 6 points. He struggled 2 11
Yeah.
from the field.
And that's another thing too, it's like it's late in the game, so he's not necessarily hitting his shot, so it's not like you can before the game, like early in the game, nip it in the button, and Joe can go to the guys and be like, "Hey, no more threes," you know what I mean? Like, don't let this guy shoot. He gets hot late, now you're scrambling to find ways to defend him. That's tough.
Yeah, and then I'll go in for the Celtics. A few guys that stood out to me. Josh Minot, only with 8 points tonight. I don't know what happened with Minot. Was it a matchup thing that Mizzou was seeing? I don't know if he got injured. I didn't see anything on him
Yeah.
getting injured, but him only have 8 minutes is a little shocking to me considering
Yeah,
the
and
struggles
that's
that we see from Hauser right now.
I feel like we're seeing a trend with that with, like, Mazzulla, where just randomly he's got guys getting minutes that they don't normally get, and he just, like, keeps them on the bench. Like, it's weird where there's no rhyme or reason, in my opinion, to
Yeah.
those minute cuts, right? So, I don't know, I think sometimes it does take guys out of rhythm, and you wanna give him just a little more to see where he's at and see how he's playing. I mean, maybe it was an injury, maybe it was something he's dealing with, but I don't know, a guy like Minot could have been a big help in this game, guarding the wings and 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 giving us a little more scoring off the bench.
Yeah, and then another few guys, White and Pritchard, first half, they were combined 1 for 13 from the floor. So the Celtics really struggled to shoot the ball in the first half, and that's why they were down 10 at halftime. I think they were lucky to only be down at 10 at halftime because their defense played a very solid game tonight.
Right.
Besides that fourth quarter when the Sixers and Justin Edwards decided to get red hot from three. But besides that, I thought their defense was pretty good. Pritchard and White struggled in the first half. White picked it up in the second half. He had 13 points in the third, which we saw him and Brown kind of carry the load in that third quarter, which put the Celtics up 6 at the end of the third. And then besides that, we had Simons with 17 off the bench. He was 5 of 15. So, again, not very efficient for Simons. But, again, we do definitely need that scoring spark off the bench. And Jordan Walsh in 29 minutes, another exceptional game for him, 8 points, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks. So
Mhm.
you're seeing the young 21-year-old really show what we talked about a few weeks ago with his upside. And really he's just flourishing right now. And I think, as he gets more minutes and stays within the flow of the game, I think he's just going to get more confident on the offensive end. But that's kind of it for the Celtics. Garza had a solid game with 9 points. Pritchard struggled with only 5. That's pretty much everything in the box score. Hugo Gonzalez got hurt in that third quarter, so he only ended up playing 6 minutes, but he again had a positive impact energy wise for this team. So
Definitely.
Jordan Walsh and Gonzalez are 2 guys that I was very pleased with and extremely excited about moving forward.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think we did talk about this earlier. You know, this season may not be exactly what they're looking for, but you can still get small wins throughout it with guys on your squad that start to, figure it out and start giving you good minutes and start and are developing. And so, tonight, yeah, they lost, but yes, you're still seeing steady progression from these guys, and that's a good thing to see. So you may not have got the win, but you can still take you know, some things away from it, But is there anything else that you kind of have in mind, kind
Yeah,
of
I mean, it was
through
just
this?
a very gutting loss, it felt like, for this team. If you told me we were only going to give up 102 points tonight, I would have assumed that we would have won this game. And I think the Celtics
Right.
had many chances to win this game, but they didn't. and that's how the NBA works. A few possessions here, a few possessions there, costs them. Again, offensive rebound late. It can't happen. Easy putback for Oubre there to give them the lead with 8 seconds left. And
Mhm.
just kind of a blown up play at the end there for the Celtics with White getting it stripped and him throwing up a little heave from almost half court and Kata thinking there's not enough time for him to actually possess the ball and just dunk it. But
Right. Yeah.
just a tough game, and the Celtics are 5-7, but they've had at least 2 to 3 games where I think it could have gone their way, and we're in a little bit of a better position here. But I still think that this team will still be a solid team, and I'm not going to be using the word tanking at
No,
all
I don't.
here
No,
coming
I
up.
disagree
So that's
because
all I got.
I think there has been so many games that are close where they could have closed it out, where they could have found ways to win, right? So
And
that's something to
and
keep.
their schedule to open the season hasn't been easy. They faced Cleveland, New York. They have faced Houston on that back to back, and they faced Philly 3 times already.
Three
So it's not like
times,
they've
right?
coming out here besides the Utah game and losing to really bad teams. Um, they just have gotten into a few close ball games and haven't executed on the stretch of the game. So
Yeah,
that's it. Tough loss, and hopefully we can start racking up some wins here.
yeah, definitely a tough loss, and like you said, you hold a team to 102. You maybe that's been kind of one of your problems. You're laying up a little more points than normal defensively. Maybe you're not as happy, and you have a good game like that. That can be pretty demoralizing. Can be pretty frustrating for sure. But like I said, there are some small wins to come with that.
Yep.
But that's gonna do it for us tonight. Thank you for watching. Once again, that's another recap here on Celtics Nation Rise. We got a podcast coming up this Thursday. I believe it's episode 76. So keep your eyes peeled up for that. That'll be on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music. We're expanding our horizons with that. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And once again, thank you for listening to the Celtics Nation Rise recap. And we'll see you at the next game. Thank you.